Mike Druniak, the press secretary to Governor Christie. Mike, good morning.
Good morning to you
Hi.
today.
Good.
Well, I was enjoying listening to Ms. Katz and Mr. Lavin.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one thing I would just like to raise. And their discussions really bring us to what's so evident coming from their position, and that is that this feeling of complete self-entitlement that is really not sustainable, and their just failure to recognize that. And there's this little exercise that I would like them and just about anybody else, any of your listeners, to go through. Walk out your front door, knock on each neighbor's door on either side, and say to them, for example, how much do you pay for your health insurance? Do you pay 1.5% for your health insurance? And I think if they are employed, you'll find incredulous looks from them because they don't pay 1.5%, they pay much more. And so it brings us back to, let's remember what we're asking for. Very little, 1.5% of salary towards health benefits. And they're very good health benefits. But we have an organization in the CWA which just doesn't recognize that as even reasonable. So when they talk about, being talked at and all that, and that they can't get a conversation going, I think that they need to look at themselves and understand that the public recognizes that we're working with an organization that refuses to even recognize that as reasonable. That's the problem here.
Mike, I tell you, I'm looking around here. If Bill and Carla have not left, do you want to? Would you talk with them?
Well, I'm not really the best person to do that.
Well, why not? I mean, you're telling us this now. Hey, you're the press secretary to the governor of New Jersey. What better person?
Well, I would simply ask them: do you really find paying 1.5% of salary towards benefits unreasonable? It's a simple question, and do we really need to reflexively file a lawsuit as the CWA did?
No, wait a minute. No, Mike, I'm sorry. I'm kind of looking around here. So you would like to ask them if it's unreasonable to ask them to pay 1.5%. Is that?
Yeah, it's a simple question.
Why? Well, let's ask them. They're here. Bill, you heard. It's Mike Druniak, of course. You know Mike.
Yeah, hi, Mike.
Hey, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hi, Mr. Lavin.
How are you? Actually, it's more than reasonable. In fact, we're already doing it. Our objection, and I don't know who you're working with. I'm glad to hear you say that you're working with somebody and working with us, but you're not working with the FMBA or the PBA as we have requested a number of times to sit down. We have some ideas, so maybe we can have a conversation off the air. We would love to do that, but my point is we are already paying those types of numbers, and in many cases, much more to our local municipalities.
And I think it's also important to clarify that it's 1.5% of base salary, not of premiums. And I think that
yes.
message
and in
is
some
not
cases
getting
as
out.
much as 10% of the premium. So we need to talk.
Okay. Well, directing my point to Ms. Katz, Carla.
Sure.
Where else in the private sector do people object to paying 1.5%?
Mike, the objection is not to the amount of money being paid.
So
the objection is the method. The objection is. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Grant that everybody should be paying at least 1.5% of salary. Reasonable.
What I'm saying, Mike, is that at the bargaining table is the proper place for those type of discussions of what people pay and don't pay for health benefits. What public employees in New Jersey pay or don't pay for health benefits is a result of a contract with public employers. Unions weren't sitting alone at those bargaining tables. I can tell you that from my own personal experience. We are sitting across from employers. Nobody was holding a gun to their heads when we signed those contracts. So the employers in the state, as well as the unions.
Carla, do you believe that we're at a point in New Jersey that we're in a real crisis situation? Do you agree with that or not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean,
that's do you agree that unprecedented times require unprecedented actions?
Well, as you probably know, I've been around New Jersey politics for a very long time, for more than a quarter century. I've seen unprecedented moments many, many times. But what I don't think is ever appropriate is what I believe are illegal actions taken against unions for political reasons. And I think that the bills that were passed are.
I don't understand political reasons. They're practical reasons. They're a request for reasonableness in times when everybody else is giving in the private sector where jobs are lost.
Well, Mike, if I
practical requests.
Mike, if I could respond, this is Bill Lavin again. The 1.5% is a. I don't know where that number was derived from. Obviously, it was the idea of the administration. But, these numbers are traditionally arrived at with give and take. It isn't something that you come up with what if we came up with a number and dictated that back to municipalities in a different way? It's a give and take. It's a dialogue which has not existed. So
no. The trouble is, I think the trouble is that the give and take has been mostly, give from state to support the public employee contracts. They've just been too much for too long, and if not now in history, taking a break from that, when? This is what I think where the disconnect is.
I think there is a disconnect, but to believe that. And I guess we're 5 months, not quite 5 months into the administration, that over the course of time, this is a brand new idea, and one administration or one governor has all the answers is I don't think reasonable. And to the point of paying into your health benefits 1.5%, is that reasonable? There are a whole lot of things. Is it reasonable to have nights, weekends, holidays, vacation, Christmas, Easter, that we work those days at straight time for the rest of the population in the workforce? Most people would say no. Our unique position, our unique job, which causes us to place ourselves in jeopardy and put ourselves on the line, requires unique negotiations and a unique contract. And to have a new governor step in and say that this 1.5% that I pulled out of the air is going to be the edict, and you will accept that, or else is not. It's not collective bargaining. It's not what we're used to. We're hoping to get back to the position where we're not talking at one another, rather talking with one another, and we look forward to that.
I still think it's a simple analysis that comes back to reasonableness. That's all.
Mike, any chance that all this can be reconciled or will be, or is this something that everybody is?
I got to leave it at this. I'm actually arriving at the State House, but
okay.
I think those are all the processes that are underway in both the legislature, where there's unanimous support for many of the reforms, as we all know. So we'll let these things unfold.
Okay, Mike, thank you very, very much. Mike Druniak, Press Secretary for Governor Christie. I didn't mean, I'm glad you guys were still here, because I thought he wanted to talk about it, so it's a perfect opportunity.
We're happy to. I think he would much prefer to just make some statements and not have a give and take. But I would say that my final statement would be, I look forward to sitting down with the governor or somebody in his cabinet and having this type of dialogue, because we're talking at each other and not with, and it's to the detriment of taxpayers and public safety in general.